What's going on, everyone? Before the episode of Hollywood Interviews gets started, real quick, us at Hollywood Interviews wanted to let y'all know that part of this episode is glitchy and cuts out, but it does come back right away. Sean, amazing guy. He is currently working on two very big movies right now, and he took the time to talk with us, but because he is so busy, he gave his interview while he was on the road, so it does get kind of glitchy and all, but all of us at Hollywood Interviews right now want to take the time, Sean, to thank you so much for doing this interview, man. You are the best, and we cannot wait to get together with you and have a drink when you get back from these two very large, awesome movies. All right, y'all, with that being said, enjoy this episode of Hollywood Interviews with Sean Krumbholtz.
There we go.
And now we're
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hollywood Interviews. And this week, Dustin and I have the great Sean Krumbholtz, Red House FX, here with us to talk about some Hollywood stuff, y'all. What's up, Sean?
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, man. Going good. Not as good as that fantastic fucking beard you have. That shit's legendary.
Yeah, I was born with it.
What? What's up? That's what's up. So I want to lead things off with sort of like a nice, like dipping your toes in the water kind of question, right? So, what got you into the biz, man? What made you want to be, a practical effects artist, special effects dude, makeup guy? So what started that whole trend for you, man?
I saw American Werewolf in London before I saw Pinocchio. I was like 5. That was a mistake. My parents didn't intend on that happening. But as I grew a little older, I started watching a lot of horror movies. My mom, I grew up in England, and her boss was a film critic out there, and she didn't like horror movies, so she gave them to me, and I'll watch them. And as a little kid, I'd give her my assessment, and she would like talk that up a bit and have that as her review for that film. And I remember getting Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's the one that really intrigued me. I was like, this is crazy. How did they do this? And that's pretty much when I learned that being a makeup effects artist was a job and something I could do. So I started trying to research that when I was about 10, 11 years old, and got a hold of a Lon Chaney book in my school library. Started understanding like some of the materials they used way back in the day, and then stumbled upon a sister magazine, Fangoria, called Gore Zone in England.
Yes.
And in the back of that magazine, they had like excerpts from effects artists. They would just give like a high level of what they did in whatever movie they were working on at the moment, and I would try to reverse engineer that. So I ruined lots of carpet, 2 lovely couches, my bed. But I just started practicing at a young age. And then the older I got, the less I was aware on how to get into the industry. It's a tough nut to crack. And it took me actually making my own film and entering that into a film festival. It's like a 5-minute little thing. But I used everything I know that I've learned: makeup effects, practical effects, some visual effects, and that just started winning awards all over the place. And went, international, and was premiered at some big festivals overseas, here in the States. And I just started getting phone calls from there. And that was kind of what I was trying to accomplish anyway, was find people via showcasing my work. That was the only way I could figure out how to do it. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Sweet. Yeah.
Independent film into big budget stuff, the big stuff, Halloween and Exorcist and things like that. So, yeah. That was it, though. I got
Dude.
kind of started at a 5-year-old, and that blossomed into what I do now.
That's excellent. And American Werewolf in London is in the upper echelon of effects. Rick Baker, dude. Oh my God, man.
Yeah, the god himself.
He is.
For sure.
We have him on next. No, I'm just joking. I'd love
I wish.
that'd be dope.
Sean, what's been your favorite prop or effect that you've worked on? Do you have a favorite?
That's a fantastic question. I do. So I mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street. That was like the launching point where I really discovered that I could do this for a living. My friend, I befriended Mark Patton. He was lead next to Robert Englund, Nightmare 2.
Mhm.
And we met on the film festival circuit somewhere. Actually, it was Crimson Film Festival in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
But we've been friends for a while now, and I get invited to Comic Cons. Mark is always one of those. One night. By the way, let me
I think
glove too, just so we all know. Yeah, so we're having dinner, and he's like, Sean, I think TSA was messing with my stuff. I got to my hotel, opened my suitcase, and my glove is broken. And he's like, can you fix it? I was like, yeah, but I didn't know if I could. But he handed me the glove, and over the years, I've been collecting like the rivets that Tandy made that were used on that specific glove. They don't make them anymore. So every time I see 1 or 2 on eBay, I just snatch them up. But I knew I had them in my shop, and we were in Charlotte. So I hauled ass back to Charleston, looked through my stuff. I had 9 rivets. I needed 7, so that meant I could screw up twice.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me just a couple minutes, like 30 minutes to fix his glove. But then I spent the next like 5.5 hours making templates of that legendary artifact and taking like 600 reference photos. So I have like every little nick and ding on that glove, and I replicated it. So if you go on my Instagram somewhere and scroll through, I have it on there. But yeah, that's probably my most favorite thing. I felt like my career came full circle at that point.
That's so fucking awesome.
And I gifted it to a buddy of mine. It blew his mind.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And speaking of Mark, I messaged him earlier. He's busy at the moment, but he said yes to being on the show later on. I'd love to get his perspective on his time with Freddie. It's so fucking cool, dude.
Yeah. He's got some awesome stories. Awesome stories about that.
Dude, I bet. So you've been in the business for a while, right? So what do you know now that you would go back in time and tell your younger self or somebody starting out in this industry? What's a great solid piece of advice that you've learned or right now that would have really helped you out early on?
That would be to just go do it. If you want to get in the industry, do it. Knock on the doors of the unions. Learned until later on that there were unions in the industry. Union everywhere. Every state has a union that supports various crafts, whether it be makeup, if you're into camera operator or running lights or costume designer, there's a union that supports that. Just go right away and just talk to somebody there, talk to a union rep, and get in the door. That if I would have known that, my time getting in the industry would have been a hell of a lot easier than if I went the route that I did go. But I'm glad I did do what I did, though. I met a lot of cool people.
That's super great advice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't be afraid either. Fail a lot. I mean, your failures are going to be what showcases your abilities and your skills. So.
Hell yeah.
Well said. Sean, what's the longest you've spent on one prop?
I think did a show for Amazon, and there was a tunnel that we sculpted. It was for Underground Railroad. It came out, I think, last spring on Amazon. I think it was last spring.
Yeah.
Amazing show. Big ass tunnel. That took a long ass time to make. I couldn't even tell you how many months. But it was a group of us sculptors sculpting that thing. We had to make it look like somebody actually went in there and used hand tools to carve out that whole thing, and here and there make it look like somebody might have had a stick of dynamite. But that was the longest. And probably the most labor intensive. Like we were in there with pickaxes. Like I was in a cherry picker, like a lift, scissor lift, and I had a pickaxe in each hand. I was just going to town like 12 hours a day, just crushing it.
Damn.
Yeah, that was the longest one.
And how much screen time you think that tunnel has?
It was in probably every episode. I think it was in every episode.
What's up. Because I'd imagine, there's stories of people that worked tirelessly on a thing to be in 10 seconds of film or 20 seconds of film. So
it happens all the time. Yeah. I mean, I think I did something for Righteous Gemstones, season 2. They needed this, it's like a torch snuffer. And if you watch season 2, it's out right now. It's this crazy looking thing. It's on the Strongman episode.
Yeah.
But it's got like the skull and big ass horns and shit like that. Yeah, Mick Flowers, the prop master for that season, he contracted me to make that thing, and it took a while to get that thing made and get it approved and do revisions and whatnot. And it wasn't in the show that long.
But it was memorable. It was a great scene.
Yeah, it's cool.
But that's a perfect segue. So in Gemstone season 2, out of all the things you contributed to this season, what would be your favorite, or maybe even experience? I mean, I was able to do some background stuff. Dustin did a bunch of background stuff. That's a wild ass set for sure.
It is. Yeah. I think BJ's cake was
there
cool.
It is.
Yeah. So Tim is a cool guy. He had never had any kind of live casting or anything like that done before. So we were there in the office next to Danny McBride's office. I was just glopping up his face, doing I had to do live casting his head, his shoulders. And myself and another person made that cake. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. That was a fun scene too.
That's a fun scene. It's a pivotal moment for his character, because there was almost the admiration from the entire kids until and then it hit, of course, Eli, and he ran away. That's just fucking hilarious. So good. So
yeah, that's I don't think I've had more fun working on a show than Gemstones. That was a wild time.
The best
for sure. Well, Sean, this has been fun, man. Let everyone know what are you working on now?
What you got going on?
Yeah. So look for a couple things. Florida Man on Netflix, makeup effects for that. Then The Menu, parent company Disney. It's a cannibal film. Pretty crazy. That was done in Savannah. And then next Halloween movie, so special effects and everything for that. And the next Exorcist, so working on a sequel to the Exorcist, the original Exorcist. And that was filmed in Savannah. That's going to be a wild ride. And that was fun. A lot of cool practical effects for that, and I made a lot of cool props for that too.
That's going to be huge. Yeah. That's going to be absolutely freaking huge.
Awesome.
David Gordon Green, man, all of them, everyone in Rough House, they're all just, they could, what they did with Halloween, they could do with Exorcist, they could do with whatever they want to do.
I'm telling you, people are going to love this.
So, so you went straight from Exorcist right into Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends. Did you have a break in between, or?
I had like a short one.
short one.
Yeah, it's still Halloween's still going now. I think we wrap. It's like first week, second week of March, something like that.
What
and when we go back to the
Oh yeah, I suppose
isn't done yet.
Yep.
That's true. It's not.
We took a break to do Halloween. Then Gemstones is going to happen.
Yep.
And then we'll finish up with the Exorcist. Actually, worked on OBX as well, season 2, and I'll probably be doing something on OBX season 3 as well. Yeah.
So are you coming back for season 3 of Gemstones then to do effects?
There's likelihood. I mean, so I was all over the map on Gemstones. I was a prop fabricator, effects, and did some sculpting, like scenic sculpting stuff. Same thing with OBX. Made all the weapon props for OBX, gold bars and all that shit. But yeah, I'm sure they'll have me come back and do something on that.
That's so awesome. You know, what a wild ride. Could you imagine you're working on Exorcist and then you're like working on Halloween? Like that's got to make like 10-year-old you just going apeshit crazy.
Dude,
I'm a 9-year-old girl screaming every day.
Yeah, that's
that's what's up, man. That's
I
what's
grew
up.
up with these franchises, right? We grew up with these franchises, and here they are, like more than relevant again, and they're badass. Like what Blumhouse and Roughhouse are doing with reinventing the sequels, not fucking rebooting a series, but reinventing the sequels. I think that's where it's at. Like,
oh hell yeah,
that original canon alone, and maybe re-release that in the theaters, but then make something that is actually awesome.
Well said. I'm going to do a surprise question because it just naturally lent itself to this. What series or what sequel or what besides what's going on now, if you personally had to like get it going through Rough House, a horror series, what do you think they could do well on top of what they've done already?
Hellraiser.
There it is. Absolutely. Could not agree more. Yeah.
It's weird you say that. I was just talking to somebody the other day about somebody has to go back and do Hellraiser the right way, because all this shit we've gotten is garbage. So it would be
a rumor that we might be seeing a Hellraiser series soon.
Oh. Whoa, dude. Holy, I just got chills, man. Dude, I'm such a horror fiend. I'm so excited to hear that, dude.
Could you imagine you get hired to make the puzzle box?
Oh,
Honestly, man, I would want to do Pinhead's makeup.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Like Gary Tunnicliffe. Yeah, Gary Tunnicliffe, he took over the Pinhead makeup way back in the day. He was a teacher and mentor of mine, and I would love to be able to put my fingerprint on that one too.
That's so sweet. Well, say it out there in the universe and it'll happen.
Yep. Speak it into existence, man. Speak it into existence, dude.
Out there. Oh man, Sean, this has been a blast, man. I hope we can have you back on, and
I'd love to.
We'll be on season 3 of Gemstones, so hopefully we can see you and hang out or something.
Yeah, when I'm in Charleston, maybe we should hook up.
Yeah, man. I love that. That'd be fantastic, dude. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
I'm all for it. Go grab a beer or something. I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down.
Awesome. Hell yeah, Sean. Well, we appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. No problem. Take it easy.
You too,
later, bud.